Sydney N-Scale Model Railway Club's main layout is the Cascade Union. This is a tour of the layout using film taken during the October running days. On entry into the layout rooms, the first piece of the layout that we see is the servicing facility for the passenger trains operating on the layout. This is part of Seattle Yard. And if we can follow this turbo train running through, we'll see more of the yard stretching down the side wall. Directly below Seattle Yard is Fort James, which is where the entry into the Calgary staging yard separates from the main line. And the locomotives you see there are heading down the main. The tracks to the right go into the fiddle yard. The only way to get a feel for the size of the layout is a panorama shot of Seattle on the top and Calgary on the bottom. On the wall opposite Calgary and Seattle, we have the Seattle to Spokane main line, and behind that, the town of Kerrs Plains. As you can see, Kerrs Plains does not have track laid yet. We're still got the track planned out. We've got buildings in to see whether they fit comfortably. And we plan to have this trackage built within the next couple of months. However, the main line is fully operational. As can be seen, with the passenger train running through, the only piece of scenery we have on this part of the layout. Moving into the next room, you can see the full extent of the layout as it stands in this room. The lower level is fully scenic, and we'll be covering that shortly, whilst the upper level is still being built. And in fact, there's supposed to be two yards coming down either side of that peninsula. And that's the next stage after the completion of Kerrs Plains. The first town that we see in this room is Feltonville. Feltonville has two main industries, an intermodal yard and an engine manufacturing plant. In front of the Feltonville is the main line running through to Spokane. The yard has just been commissioned and is now available for operations. On the other side of the room, we have Frank Grace Yard. This yard is a small marshalling yard used to support the operations of the two branches. And at the end of the yard is Beena Junction. On the other side of Beena Junction is the township of Beena. Beena's actually grown a bit, and we've now got a main road heading down towards the industrial area of Dawson Creek, and the track runs down the middle of that road. You can see where the track is with the white line, which will eventually, once we're comfortable everything's running, will be painted to hide the white. From there we move into the industrial area of Dawson Creek. Dawson Creek supports a number of industries, the main one being the Cascade Beverages, which is the main factory there, as well as a couple of smaller plants and factories around the layout. Below Bena, we have the township of Eureka. At the far end of Eureka are the main two industries, a gravel pit and a sand mining facility. As we watch the train cross over the bridges at Trudeau River and head on down to Harper's Creek. Harper's Creek is where a new deviation the train is running up was built to supplement the main line, which is going across the trestle in the background. But that trestle is now starting to deteriorate, so now they are expanding the cut of the new line, putting in an additional bridge, and they will eventually have a double-tracked main. At the end of the peninsula, we have Morant's Curve. Looks really spectacular when you've got a train such as this passenger running around the curve. And now we come to the most photographed section of the layout, the bridge over Rocky Creek. The bridge is some 750 scale feet long and stands approximately 400 scale feet above the valley floor. It really does look good. Around the corner from Rocky Creek is Fort McLoud. Two main industries, the lumber mill, and further around will be a paper mill. Fort McLoud also supports quite a strong tourist area with the beautiful lake that you see behind, and the visitors quite regularly stay at the Fort McLoud Chateau. At the other end of Fort McLoud is Cataract Gorge, and you'll see some hoppers in the mid-foreground. They are feeding into the Sparwood mine. And there you see the mine behind the train. The train itself is running into the town of Parker. At the other end of Parker, the terrain has been built to reflect the Alberta plains. And just to show that we don't always run diesels, here we have the UP's FEF 8444 pulling a freight through the township of Parker. And right in the rear you can see the mine loader for the Sparwood mine. We now head into a small alcove, which is where both the upper and lower levels of the layout are joined together at the end over a rather spectacular bridge there. This area is known as Black River, and we're still very much working on the scenery on both levels. And finally, we have Connaught Tunnel, which leads back into the Calgary Yard. If you've liked the video, please click on the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you along, so please hit on the subscribe button.